And we're back, the TAKful Creator here. Okay, let's get started. May God the Creator bless us. May God the Redeemer heal us. May God the Holy Spirit enlighten us. Give us eyes to see, ears to hear, and hands to do the work of God. Feet to walk the path of justice, and mouths to preach the good news. May the angel of peace, prosperity, love, abundance, guidance, grace, and mercy watch over us and lead us to the reign of God. Ashe. Okay. Alright, so the Emperor, that is the topic of today's discussion in our general reading. I appreciate you for your likes, your shares, your subscribes. I appreciate your commenting. I appreciate your energetic support, and I appreciate your energetic compliance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so with this Emperor card, the major arcana, it was the first card to fall out. So let's really understand this energy. Okay, we have 30 at the top and 31 at the bottom. With 30, 3 and 0 together is a very powerful number because it shows that all of your chakras, from the root chakra all the way to your crown chakra, is in full alignment, right? Because your crown chakra is able to take in all of the necessary information, to order your steps properly, fundamentally, within the realm of your root, okay? While also magnifying the information that is able to absorb and upgrades from the crown. Okay, it's full alignment. All right, 3 is recognizing help from the ethereal realm. 0 is the ethereal realm's essence around us. Okay, on the bottom we have 31, which is the right reaction. It is the energy that happens after you put your steps forward. That is what 31 symbolizes, okay? So right now, as an emperor energy, we're talking about the energy of what you bring forth, okay? The actions that you are taking, the steps you are walking in as we speak, okay? So the emperor, worn with the right attitude, even a cone of shame can be a crown, okay? That's where this blue spherical area is meant to show. Okay, now it's the color baby blue of the throat chakra. So what are we saying with the Emperor? In the upright, in order for you to move in this light, you don't necessarily have to vocalize it. Okay, your actions, as we were just speaking on, are much louder than the words you can ever say. Okay, so you have to be, in essence, this Emperor. You don't have to vocalize it. Okay, your crown will be shown or expressed to others based on, again, your actions, how you show up, not what you say. Okay, that's the heaviest message here. Okay, now the Emperor holds absolute authority. Okay, so the cone here only prevents, for one, an overactive throat chakra, but it only prevents the cat from harming itself. Other than that, it's the cone is basically useless, right? It's basically harmless. All right. So it's saying that this Emperor has so much power that it can fall back and hurt itself. But in order for the power to truly thrive, to truly be in full essence, you can't, double back. Okay. So it's basically saying to master yourself, because we're putting so much focus on this throat chakra, and then if you see the eyes of the cat, they're looking upward. Okay, it's looking up as if like the crown is supposed to be on the head, but we're seeing the crown is around the throat chakra. So it's like the Emperor is moving in full alignment, but it's focused on its personal regality. Okay, its personal powers, personal control, its ability to seem astute even in situations where they should be embarrassed, right? Because a cat walking around with a cone around its neck is kind of funny, it's not natural. So just see the essence of this cat with the crown, with the cone around its neck. It still looks regal. It still looks like that cat, king cat, okay? And that's what we have to do. We have to move in that. You see this orange that's in the background, which orange is a symbol of boldness, but it's also a symbol of compassion. It's a symbol of extrovertedness, but it's also a symbol of sensitivity. Okay, so with this orange, you have to be fully equipped in balancing yourself, right? Balancing your actions and balancing the environment around you. Okay, orange and blue are complementary colors. So if the environment is doing something around this cat, the cat is complementing the environment by either doing the opposite or doing something that would work well with it, okay? And the cat, if you notice, the cat is white, a symbol of purity, right? That's the color white. It's a symbol of purity. We're not talking about, you know, ethnicities or the color of your skin. We're talking about just regular colors and the symbolism behind that. White is the symbol of purity, okay? And there's more white that is being offered in this card than anything else. So while above the cat, where the cat is looking, is white, right? They're looking at purity. They're looking at innocence, okay? Because they are the embodiment of it. They can only focus on what they are. So it's also showing true authenticity within this card. It's a very masculine card, but very powerful in its femininity, because the emperor can only be an emperor if it's able to balance its femininity, okay? So this is a beautiful card. This is what this whole reading is about. But why do we have the Five of Pentacles and the King of Cups in reverse here? Okay, so let's go first with, I would say, the King of Cups. Okay, we're going to start first with the King of Cups. And as I like to do, we're going to start with the numerology. So you have 87, but in the reverse here, we can see it more as like a 78, right? 7 is the number of praise, and 8 is the number of forgiveness, okay? And when you couple praise and forgiveness, you are offering the ethereal realm the necessary energy to show that you are welcoming to wealth. You are welcoming to resources, to upgrades, to finances. All right, but with it being in the reverse here, it's saying that maybe your openness is not truly showing up in the way that you think it's showing up, right? Because there's a lack of confidence there. There's a lack of patience there. There's a lack of full commitment there, okay? So let's see what this King of Cups really means for us, right? Now, generally, it represents dignity, okay? It represents the part of yourself that is all about structure and order and authority, but how you accept it, if that makes sense, right? Because a lot of people, when their dignity is bruised, they don't show up in a positive light. But as an emperor, no matter what happens, no matter what environment you are in, you must show up in the highest vibrational light you possibly can, okay? But here with this King of Cups in reverse, we're seeing that, you know, there's a need for control. And this need for control, like I mean, like it's not like, oh, you know, you need food, like it's, you need an item that is unnecessary, okay? That's what I'm getting more by this reversal card, right? Because when you need things that in a sense don't make a lot of sense logically, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense logically. It would take emotions to kind of navigate it. It would take emotions to push it. It would take other people's emotions to support it. Like with logical things, you can move in action, but with emotional things, you have to move in vulnerability. As an emperor, it's easy, but as a King of Cups in reverse, it's not the easiest thing to do, okay? Because naturally, when there's an imbalance in control, whether it's your self-control or external control, people can get downright destructive, okay? We're being called to use caution always, but to protect ourselves from our own shortcomings. You see how in this Emperor card, the cone was to stop this cat from harming itself. The unfortunate part here is that if we view this cone as a crown more than we view it as a safety feature, we can't use it as a safety feature. So with this King of Cups, this energy is seeing the resources around them not for the utility of them, but for the imaginary aspect of them, okay? The aspect of them that's going to help their emotions, not the aspect of them that's going to help their physical skill sets, that's going to help their level up in life, it's going to help their ascension, that's going to help their processing skills or other skills. It's not going to help any of that. It's only going to help the emotions, because we're too heavily focused on feeling good opposed to doing good. Okay, what's the major difference between these two cards? Well, the cat is orange here, so that boldness, that environmental chaos, that extrovertedness, that push, that gusto is the cat, opposed to the environment that we need to balance as a cat. Okay, the cat is, in a sense, the chaos, where the environment around them is blue and white, right? That's the peace and calm. So they are balancing, the environment around them, but in a chaotic way. So they're not choosing the right environment to assist their emotional well-being. And if their emotional well-being is not taken into consideration and, basically like nurtured, they won't be able to take care of their physical well-being. Okay, now note in this picture we also have orange and blue in the picture frame. So from this cat standpoint, even the environment around them tells them this is natural. Look at this dolphin being very calm and tranquil in the picture with the blue, and very regal with the gray. And in order for this dolphin to even be that, they have to be encompassed in orange. They have to be encompassed in that fiery nature, and that extrovertedness, and that gusto. Okay? But when you are constantly moving in that over dramatized energy, it takes away from your emotional well-being. It takes away from your calmness, your platitude, and it takes away from your growth. So in actuality, we are all called to be more of the white cat, or be more of the black cat. We're not really called to be the orange cat. We are called to use the orange cat energy to assist us, but we're not called to be the orange cat. Okay, everyone keep that in mind. All right, we don't need to protect ourselves all the time from things, but if you are moving in an orange light, if you're moving in a chaotic light, you will be forced to protect yourself constantly. All right, when you're moving in flow, the divine protects you. You don't need much self-protection. But again, when you are acting outside of the neutrality of a moment, or the neutrality of an experience, then yes, you would need some sort of protection that is beyond the ethereal realm, or beyond the divine. Okay? So now that we understand what the King of Cups is offering to this dynamic in the Emperor, let's see what this Five of Pentacles is pushing. Okay? And note that it's also in the reverse. Okay, so with this Five of Pentacles, it's basically noting that with life, things change, okay? And we're called to adapt, right? Some things change financially, some things change physically, like with your comfort, but you're called to assess the situation, all right? So 5 is a number of change automatically, right? And with change, you are forced to accommodate that change, right? That's what the adaptation comes into play. Accommodate that change by first accepting it for what it is, and then figuring out what the balance of the situation requires in order for things to go back to contentment, right? Go back to nil. Well, with this 101, you are basically called to ask the divine. You're basically called to keep asking questions, to keep inquiring, to look and think further into an experience. But because in the upright or in the reverse, 101 is the same, we can see it as a positive thing and a negative thing. Okay, so if you are in a positive situation, yes, it's important for you to figure out everything that's happening around you, so that maybe you can replicate the situation, or that you can give gratitude and appreciation for being a part of it, right? And same thing when you're in a negative situation, you need to be observant and be able to see everything that's around you in order to navigate it more properly. Okay, with it being in the reverse here, I'm seeing that it's like avoid hanging on to stuff, right? Like avoid dwelling on things for too long, right? Because in the upright here, like it's really showing that, like, not everything is what it seems. Like, it's not really a picture perfect situation. It can remind us of, like, potential emotional, like, situations, right? The stars are here, like, look up to the stars, but the stars are fake. They're not real, right? It's like, turn your gaze to something that looks better, even though, like, it's not that way, right? You see, like, this cat is inquiring about this other cat. It's an inquisitiveness that seems staged, right? And the reverse here, we're getting, like, and I think this is the reason why we spoke on this after the King of Cups here, because in the reverse here, it's like you're not understanding what you value. You're not understanding what drives you. You're not understanding what fears you have, okay? Because everything around you, in a sense, could be a potential fear or a potential success. Like, everything around you could be dangerous or helpful. But there's something that you're lacking. Maybe it's like spiritual blindness. You're not seeing things around you for what they truly are. Okay? And that could be what happens when we move in this Emperor light. It's like you kind of escape over, you know, your surroundings because you're above it, you know? So you don't really have to navigate it too much, or you don't really have to pay attention to it too much because you know it's going to be taken care of for you. Well, what we're being told here is that even in your Emperor energy, you can't ignore your surroundings. You have to be cautious of what can bring potential positivity or what can bring potential negativity. Understand what the cover-up is. Understand what facades are. Understand what is necessary and what isn't necessary. You must fully engage with your environments, okay? But you need to do so from a standpoint, excuse me, of calmitude, not from chaos, not from, like, I'm getting like someone's itching to say something, someone's itching to do something, like, oh, if this goes left, then I'm gonna go right. Like, you need to remove yourself from that kind of ideology and be able to just sit. Be like, no matter what happens, I'm able to sit here because I am divinely protected. Why am I divinely protected? Well, because I have the discernment to see what is chaotic around me and complement it by being the peace. I can see what is peaceful around me and complement it, not by being the chaos, by offering the sense of purity, right? Instead of having the orange balance the blue, we will have the white balance the blue, right? It's really just focusing on how you show up in the world and making sure how you show up is in line with your emotional health, your emotional well-being, but doesn't let your vulnerabilities overshadow your essence. Okay, because sometimes we can feel vulnerable and then get into our emotions and let those emotions, like, you know, rip us up. But there has to be a part of us that says, well, you know what? Emotions aren't facts. They're momentary and they're here to help me understand more. If I'm letting one feeling drive me in a circle on repeat, there's something I'm not understanding about it, okay? Because otherwise I would be in a lie. All right? Now we can see how these three cards can show up in our lives just theoretically, but let's jump into how it can show up physically for us. Okay, so if you see a few cards fall out and you hear, you know, something I say that may be someone else says it, or maybe played on the radio, or whatever the case is at a certain time, just know that you are currently in a reading. All right, it's deja vu, and you were already given the prerequisites to assist you in it. Okay, so either you can go back to that reading, you can go and tap into your subconscious, or you can ask your guides. Okay. Alright, so we have some bathroom energy, which was one of the first cards that I saw, and this skunk. Okay, so what do skunks normally do? Well, they are notorious for their smell. They're very pungent smell. Okay, it's the way to protect them, but it's also a way to kind of keep people away from them. So it keeps the predators away, but it also keeps the good people away. Alright, no one wants to be Pepe Le Pew out here. So we're saying that in you being the emperor, You must see what's a part of your character, right? Your trait that may not align with the Emperor status. Take yourself to a bathroom. That could be physical, that could be theoretical, because bathrooms symbolize emotional healing, right? Take yourself to a quiet, reclusive space and understand why you have emotions, right, about it. And I know that sounds weird. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have emotions, but you do. And you have to figure out why you have those emotions, okay? Oftentimes, I like to do these meditative moments in the shower, right? Where I'm getting that spiritual cleansing, kind of like what the rain is doing to the world right now. It's a spiritual cleansing, okay? So it's a great time for someone to cease and desist, because there are jokes that people find something comical. Okay, and we're not really sure about what they find comical, but I think it is being a perpetrator or doing something to afflict someone in a very royal energy, right? Someone who embodies this emperor status. Okay, but it's a great time to cease and desist for that energy, because it's not positive. I mean, for going for the chosen ones. Okay, you come for a chosen one, just know it's not going to be good for you. Okay, we're getting cheetah vibes, but again, hear what I said, cheetah, right? I said the word cheetah as written here, but I heard cheater. Okay, I'm not sure if you heard it too, but I heard cheater, and right next to this rebound energy was social media. Okay, maybe someone with a free-flowing vibe kind of is coming off as a cheater, coming off maybe as a rebound energy, one or both parties here, because there was some unfulfilled journey where an emperor maybe had to remove themselves, right? In order for them to remove themselves, they have to not tap into the past, right? That would, in essence, be them biting themselves. That's why this cone is here, okay? Someone's moving more like with their heads in the cloud, but with the head in the cloud thing, I'm getting more like they are meditating. They're clearing their mental space. They are offering their crown chakra up to the divine so that they can enhance it in some way, right? They're probably a firstborn, or maybe they're thinking about a firstborn, and they're having some kind of PMS. This is what we were talking about with the emotional dysregulation. Okay, when you appear too vulnerable all the time and you let your sensitivities kind of move your actions, you're not moving in your masculine flow. You're moving more in a toxic feminine flow, because you're moving with your emotions, but in a way that takes away from you and the collective, not builds you and the collective. We can note that as PMS, even if you're not going through like premenstrual symptoms. We're gauging that what happens when people are going through premenstrual symptoms. They're hormonally imbalanced. They can seem quick to agitate. They can seem a bit aggressive. They may be a bit more bold and extroverted in a way that maybe harms people, or makes people emotionally afflicted. Okay, but it's because they are this gladiator status. They're moving with the 5D, and the 5D is calling for them to have this air, right? And so someone is getting some kind of elective surgery, but they don't really need it. It's straight BS. Or maybe someone said that they got elective surgery. Someone said that this person who was maybe a firstborn got an elective surgery, but it's straight BS. Like, this person is all natural. Like, everything they have from jump to finish, they can't be in emperor status if they are not natural. Okay, their needs will be met, and this has to do with some kind of stiffness in the dark web. Okay, I was watching some videos earlier about like these two dudes who live together, right? They purchase people off of the dark web, and then they record them in their home and see kind of like what craziness that they're on, right? And they have cameras all around their house and stuff like that, so that they even invite these people to stay over. Like, I watched a video of this like clown who was like demented. He was like 6'7", very weird, and like vanished out of nowhere. And then this older lady who like made stew, and the stew was her poop, and one of the dudes ate it, not realizing that it was her poop because he didn't check the cameras prior to. But I'm getting, like, again, these people were thieves of joy. Okay, there's someone that's out without a paddle, and needing to focus on colon health. Okay, so maybe in order for you to really move in this true regal emperor status, you have to make sure that your body is not harming itself. So you need to go to a doctor checkup. You need to figure out, what is harming you, what is not in alignment. You need to not act like a little boy from like 4 to 9. Okay, you might need to heal certain aspects of yourself in order to truly see that, like, your age is not an issue. Your age is actually a positive thing, like. And I see that I'm pushing away some enemies with that, because a lot of people talk about the elderly in such a negative way, but it's like each year of your life, that's more experience, that's more knowledge, that's more regality, that's more wisdom. You were closer and closer to being that, the definition of wisdom for everyone else to kind of seek. So if that's the case, like, you can be 50 years old and have the mindset of someone who's 4 to 9. Then your years are not a badge of honor. But I can say, like, I'm in my 20s and my mind is well beyond anyone in their 20s or 30s or 40s at this point. I hang out with the elderly very often because on a mental stimulating note, people my age or people, a little bit older than me, they don't have the depth that is necessary to keep me interested, to say the least. Most spiritualists are hermits, but it's like, oh yeah, the realization that I'm Hummer status. Yeah, you can hate on me, that's cool. People hate on me all the time. Yeah, don't trust it. There's a true crime committed. I believe it. People trying to steal your essence. They can't be you. Divine sexual interaction and intimacy. Yes, that's for the emperor and the empress. But that can only happen, when we are able to move in our highest divine light. Okay, someone is spineless, possibly this moth-like energy, this enemy that likes to, gravitate around me, but they're acting more like a courage to cowardly dog, right? Because they're basically a punk. They're a punk. They don't have any spiritual guidance. They don't have any higher power. They're basically out without a paddle. They don't really know how to be confident, like feel like they are the one, and so like they get mad at you for feeling like you are the one, like you are the, excuse my language, but you're the shit. Like they get mad about that. It's like turn your nose up or something like that. That's what I'm just gauging here. But in actuality, you're the goat. You're the goat. They see that you're the goat and they want to be like you, but they don't realize you're only the goat because you have your spiritual backing. Okay, 100 acres and a mule, someone gatekeeping, this moth-like energy. Okay, so my guides are telling me, like, this is going to make sense to you. When you hear this, when you watch the video, it's going to make sense to you. That's why I'm not even being called to drop the cards down. I'm just being called to express it to you as if we're in podcast form. Okay, so Hippo, do not engage. If someone is overly communicating with you and you don't like what's being said, don't engage. If someone is interacting with you, maybe like this Taurus energy, and they're being very stubborn or aggressive, don't engage. Remove yourself. And if you can't remove yourself, remove your attention. Tauruses hate that. I'm telling you. Okay? You want to get back at a Taurus? Ignore them. Treat them like they don't matter. Because every Taurus believes they matter. So, there's some kind of spiritual war, which is being shown in how people's loyalty shows up. Okay, so like there's a spiritual war happening. We can tell by how the rain is, how the the animals are, the different patterns, and just the chaos that we have to deal with daily. We already know we're in a spiritual war. But what is particular about this spiritual war? Well, the people that are around you, they're showing you whether or not they're loyal to you. Okay, that is the key identifier. People who used to show up as dogs used to be extremely happy to see you. were very open and vocal with like experiencing you and wanting you to be around and stuff like that, well, that energy is being removed. See, just as we said, like that energy is literally like falling on its head. Okay, and the people who are truly loyal will be shown, but at the very end, so you can know what energies you're meant to carry with you into your emperor status. Okay, and just know that there's going to be a funeral service with some of these dogs, but you're going to be celebrating. Okay, you're going to be celebrating. You're going to be so much happier that you know what fake people that you need to remove out of your life. 150%. Okay, and it could be, you know, one of these Leos, or maybe you have 2 Leos in your life. One Leo is very loyal, but then there's another Leo that acts just like that loyal Leo, like a dog. This is the sign you're going to have to be particular with. Okay, this is going to be the hardest sign for you to tell whether or not they're loyal to you, because they know how to act like a dog even when they're not dog-like. All right, and this Leo in reverse, you were going to have to remove. Maybe you're a Leo and you have to remove this aspect of you, but just know that there's going to be one or multiple Leos who has some kind of a decision to make, right? Because the Scorpio, their intuition is off, and because their intuition is off, they're not able to act in the light that you act in. So you're going to be called to remove that energy from you, because in order for the Scorpio to remain loyal, they have to move based on intuition. It's not based on their connection to you. Okay, so you're going to remove this Scorpio. You're going to remove this Leo, because this Leo doesn't know how to abide by your good boundaries. They view any boundary as a negative one, as a way to push apart, opposed to, you know, bring together. So the Scorpio you're going to be removing, and that's probably because they're showing up as someone who's diseased or ill, and they're doing it in a way that is kind of like self-pitying, right? And kind of blaming you or wanting you to like clean up the slack, but like, again, it's not the responsibility of you. Just because you move in this light of being able to complement your environments, complement the people around you, doesn't mean that it is your role. Okay, but this funeral service is very real. There might be a real death with either a Leo or a Scorpio, but just know that these energies are sharks, and their limelight is now done. Okay, and because of this, these loyal dogs are going to have some kind of shopping spree. Okay, so maybe the Scorpio or the Leo, they were diseased or ill, and you know, now they're not here anymore, right? That's part of the spiritual war. They had to, you know, relinquish themselves, but in doing so, that means that, you know, it's one less shark for people to think about. So the people who are more loyal, or seen as loyal, maybe they got something in the will or got something in like a trust or something, and they're going to a shopping store. They could be shopping for the funeral arrangements. Okay, but just know that the person who was diseased or ill, they weren't very tranquil. They weren't very regal. You wouldn't even call them a prince or a princess. It's kind of like an injury, like, oh, you know, you could have died a long time ago type of thing, and the world wouldn't have changed a lot. Okay, and you see, maybe if they did pass away a long time ago, there would be a lot more positivity, right? There would be a lot more. But just like that, of course, the spiritual attacks are real, and the camera likes to shut off and the battery likes to die. So I will wish us all the best. I'll see us soon. Until the next, be this emperor out here. We're proud of you. Okay.